Well, here we are on Times Square, where it all happens.
I know.
And oh my goodness, someone is just offering me a tour. Yes, thank you.
A tour, thank you. Yes, and people are yelling behind us, and people are making balloon animals over there, and there are naked ladies behind Miriam, who is doing
topless.
our camera. Well,
Yes, Miriam is my daughter, by the way.
Yes, and we will show
she
her
is
picture
clothed.
later.
Behind us is the legendary TKTS Booth, where you can get tickets for half price.
Yes, if you can get to them.
If you can get, the lines have always been very long.
Welcome to Pandemonium.
Yeah, but the things I've been covering. Well, I've been going to the theater here for close to 50 years.
I'm not going to say.
And a friend of mine who lived here 30 years ago came back this weekend.
Oh.
And for the first time in really 30 years was walked around Times Square. To see all the change, and it really has changed.
Oh God, completely.
Now, when I was growing up, you had a lot of strip clubs. You had the Howard Johnson's, which was here forever. It never changed until they knocked it down and
fried clams,
delicious ice cream.
Fried clams,
you had arcades, pinball, early video games. My favorite was Spy Hunter. And in 30 years, the Toys R Us, which was one of the most wonderful retailers ever, has come and gone, unfortunately. A victim.
Why are we reviewing this? Why are we talking about
Because
this?
we're here, so we're...
Okay, all right, fair enough.
Just to let you know that things haven't changed all that much.
When I was a little girl,
yes,
my father would bring the baby, my brother the baby, who's a psychiatrist and a lawyer, up in the carriage, and we would walk from 21st Street, where we lived, to 42nd Street, and we would walk up and down 42nd Street, and we would stop in Howard Johnson's, and we would get a soda, and we would sometimes go to the movies and do all of those things, And we never thought of it as a bad place. It was only when Giuliani told us how terrible it was that we realized it was a terrible place.
Where between 7th and 8th on 42nd Street, which is now a very crowded place. At one point,
it was
the theaters
honky-tonk.
It was honky-tonk. The theaters there were a couple of electronic stores. There were the former Broadway theaters showed either kung fu or porno. I mean,
or regular movies.
And
there
people,
were one or two that showed regular movies.
No,
yes,
not
I
then.
saw Pinky on 42nd Street. It was a revival. I won't tell you the year because I can't remember.
Not in the 70s and the 80s.
My son used to come up to that same arcade, and he got mugged.
Yeah, you could get mugged back then. You could get pickpocketed.
I am a New York baby.
There were
I'm a Broadway
three-card
baby.
Montes. You could get but one thing that has changed back then, they had all these strip clubs and peep shows. Now you can see that outside.
That's true, but we're not going to show it. But the one thing I will say is that I'm a Broadway baby. I never thought it was honky-tonk. I loved it. I never was afraid here. Now I can't stand the tourists, to be honest with you. Sorry, tourists.
You really are a Broadway baby.
I am a Broadway baby.
People ask what I miss. I don't miss the pornography. I don't miss the drugs. I don't miss the honky-tonk. I do miss the arcades. I miss the Howard Johnsons. I miss the intimacy. You're right, because now it is so crowded.
Oh,
I used to think of this as my private backyard. I mean, even if there were a couple of thousand people.
Right.
Now a couple of 100,000 people.
Right.
I remember when they built the Marriott Marquis Hotel, which we're sitting right next to. I remember I'd go in. It wasn't quite completed, but they'd let you in the lobby, and I rode the glass elevators for the first time. And I remember when the theater opened, they demolished 3 Broadway theaters.
They did. Speaking of which, we should start talking about what's going on in the Broadway
Let me just tell you one story to show you that maybe Times Square hasn't changed quite as much as we used to.
Okay.
My friend was walking down Times Square, and she saw a woman's wig, with curls and a ponytail on the ground. And this man, who was definitely a man, came over, picked up the wig, put it on his head, and walked away.
And that says what?
That says that maybe things in Times Square haven't changed.
That's the world. That's got nothing to do with
That is
Broadway.
Times Square.
No, honey.
That is Times Square.